Changing the oil on a 525 KTM EXC. First thing, make sure your engine oil is hot, operating temperature. And then the first thing we do is we remove that plug right there to drain the oil. Once the drain plug is out, make sure you clean it thoroughly in the washer. And then before you reinstall it, after all of the oil is drained out, clean the housing where that screws into as well. Make sure your bike is level for draining the oil. And the plug is back in, tightened, 13 foot-pounds of torque. So that's the oil filter, or the oil drain plug. That's on the back of the motor on the bottom side. On the shifter side, underneath, is this plug. This plug needs to be taken out and cleaned. This is what came out of that area. This needs to be cleaned, and then after it's cleaned, put back in. And then there's a secondary one that we'll clean after this one. Okay, that's cleaned, and that now clips back inside of that cap, and then it gets screwed back in. That's tightened and put back in, 7.5 foot-pounds of torque. That 13 millimeter behind the shift lever is the one we take out next. The nut has been taken off, or the cap, but there's a screen still inside here that needs to be taken out. So I'm going to stick a little Phillips in here and just kind of use it to wiggle it out. So the second one's out. This is called the long oil filter screen, and the first one was a short filter screen. Get this cleaned up real nice and then put it back in. Okay, that's back in and tightened, 11.5 foot-pounds of torque. Putting that long screen in, you can use like that long Phillips and use that as a guide. So you'd slide that screen onto the Phillips all the way back up to the handle. Push the Phillips in till you get it centered in the opposite side of the casing, and then slide the that long filter in, the long screen filter all the way in until it seats properly. You can try doing it with your fingers also. It's a little trickier, but it can be done. Now we have the two large oil filters, this one and this one, that need to come out. Bottom left corner of the screen, I took out that bolt and this chain guide so I can get to the 8 millimeter bolts that fasten the covers for the oil filters, making it easy. I put a paper towel in there to help catch the oil that I knew would come out. There's a little O-ring that sits right inside the edge here. Be careful with that, obviously. If it's damaged in any way, replace that. And then pull that filter out. The inside of both oil filters, O-rings cleaned, the caps are there. Old oil filters there. Install the new oil filters. Back inside, O-rings carefully put back into place, caps on, and then we're done. Fill it up with oil. Quick note, you'll notice those tubes down at the end, inside at the back end of the filter housings. Both of them have them. There's O-rings on the oil filters. So I would lube those up a little bit. Just put a dab of oil, rub it around in there so that it goes in easy and seals nicely when you put it in. The oil, the filters, that is. Here's the two new oil filters. Long one's on top, short one's on the bottom. 155, 157 are the part numbers. These happen to be K&Ns. High flow, gotta be high flow. Everything's back in now. 5 foot-pounds of torque on the 2 bolts for each oil cover. And that's pretty much it. Then we fill the case with oil. Full synthetic oil, 1.2 liters. Start the bike up, let it run, and then shut it off. Check your oil level. Top off a little bit if you need it. Side glass. Put the oil in recommended for my motor, and started it up. Noticed that, and then after running it through so that the oil could bleed into everywhere and fill everything, shut it off, and then check the sight glass. I needed to add quite a bit more oil. Make sure you check your sight glass after starting it, letting it run for a little bit, shut it off, let the oil drain, check to see where it is in the sight glass or on the dipstick, and add enough oil so that you don't burn up your motor. My sight glass is right behind that spring, and now it's at the halfway point. When the oil is hot, the instructions are you can have it all the way up to the top of the glass. If you check it when your oil is cold, it can be near the bottom. And that's got it.